Greetings, greetings, everyone. It's been a while since I touched base with you. So here I am. I thought it would be good to just give you a little heads up on what's up and what's ahead. So what's up with me lately is I just finished doing a huge batch of readings about the new moon cycle. This is the newest reading that I'm offering, is this new moon cycle and the way that the planets in your birth chart relate to that new moon. That was great, especially for me, because I got to do like 50 readings on the same subject, so I really got to understand how the nakshatras relate to Shravana nakshatra. And Shravana nakshatra is so amazing when you understand how it relates to other nakshatras like Rohini and Anuradha. It's about the topic of conversation. Shravana literally means to listen, but it's not just it's not just about talking to people, literally listening. It's about being in any kind of relationship, because conversation means relationship. It's about being in relationship as the receiver. And how the misconception that everybody has is that this is a passive thing. Passive or inactive, to be the receiver or the recipient. Shravana Nakshatra is all about how you have to express your inquisitiveness and show your openness and receptivity to evoke the response from the speaker or the giver in the relationship. So it was very interesting. Super interesting to do all those readings next month. Of course, if you still want that reading, you can still get it. It's just that we're already a bit into the cycle, and the discount for it is over. But it's still, if you still want to find out how your birth chart planets relates to this conversation of receiving from people and listening and learning, you could still do that. But at the beginning of the next month, a little bit before the new moon this time, because I'm more prepared, I'll start doing the same reading for the next new moon. And next time I'm going to offer it in two formats, a little less expensive for the report format and slightly more expensive for the personal recordings. Anyway, what else have I been doing lately? I just finished the level 2 online course with an amazing group of people. So that was really good, again, for me, because it's always good to brush up. We talked about the dynamics of how you interpret planets in signs, planets in houses, and lords in houses. And the reason why this is called level 2 is because it's based on that you first have a decent level 1. Level 1 means you know what the moon really symbolizes and all of the implications of it, compared to what Mercury symbolizes, compared to what Venus symbolizes. You know clearly what Aries does or is like, and what Taurus is like. You know what the 4th house is, and then you don't have any misconceptions about those things. That's probably the most important stuff to work out. That's in level 1 of how I teach astrology. After people have done level 1, we do level 2 courses, which is more interactive. You have to do a lot more homework and a lot more practice, and you look more at charts. So we just finished that. That was, how many classes? There was 3 modules with 3 classes each, and then an intro and an outro. So there was 11 classes with a great group of people. Basically what you learn with trying to learn how to interpret a planet and a sign, for example, it's the same. There's the same template for interpretation that you'll do whether you're interpreting a planet in a sign or a planet in a house or anything. It's to ignore all the possible combinations and to look specifically for where these things are on the same page or where they're on the opposite pages. Yeah. So yeah, we did that. We studied they got my notes on every possible combination of planets in signs, planets in houses, and lords in houses. But we studied the ones that the students asked to study. And we use the charts, the reference charts that we used were Einstein, Hitler, the ones that I recently done. Einstein, Hitler, Angelina Jolie, Marilyn Monroe. We also did Priyanka Chopra and one other person. But anyway, it was a very good course. The other thing that I've been doing lately, and is still not finished, is the Vedic philosophy course. What's this? Vain strategist. I heard explanations of the third from different astrologers. Third house? Third house? Yeah, the third house is simply... The way that you have to understand your houses is real simple. You just have to understand the Holy Cross. Not the Christian cross, but the Holy Cross. East, west, up, down. Once you understand what that Holy Cross or Sacred Cross represents, then you can figure out what all the rest of the houses represent, because the eastern part of the cross is the first house, the western is the seventh. The upper part is the 10th, and the lower part is the 4th. Yuyi's here. Yuyi, you took level 2 also? You're taking all my courses. So what the 4th house actually represents, being the bottom anchor of the cross, it's the part that's below the ground, so it represents the internal, unseen self. And then it moves towards the eastern arm of the cross. So it's taking the eastern flavor on the underground. The 5th is the opposite. It's the underground with the western flavor. Western means other people, eastern means self. So third house basically is just how your inner stuff, like your emotions and your opinions, how it moves towards the ascendant, means towards yourself and towards becoming concrete. So the third house has to do with your motivations, your desires, what you want to realize and achieve is the third house. And that's why it involves other things like bravery, strength, courage, fighting, and so on. All right. Amitanshu wants to know if I'm going to translate the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. I got stalled on it. I'm like 70% through the 4th canto. But it's something that I intend to get going again in 2020. But then I'm getting so enwrapped with you guys that it's kind of taking me away from that Bhagavatam. But you'll see one of the things I'm going to do in 2020 is related to this. So yeah, then the other thing that I'm doing recently is Vedic philosophy course, which is so amazing. The group that we have for the online Vedic philosophy course are super inquisitive and lively people. So it's very nice. A lot of discussion outside of the classes going on, between the classes to clarify the points. This is an amazing course because we explore the Vedic concept of what reality actually is, and how reality is something that you experience, so therefore it's based on the experiencer. So it means that tangible reality is based on consciousness. And then how you experience consciousness to 3 extents, and how personhood is involved in the experience of consciousness, and how that relates to the concept of God. And so we're getting to explore the nature of the concept of Krishna, Bhakti, Jiva, the individual, Maya. All these things are very, very interesting topics that we're diving into really nicely in this Vedic philosophy course that we're about 60% of the way through now. So that's why I've been kind of not on Facebook, YouTube much. Lately I've been pretty consumed. That. Raphael, it's not too late it is too late to sign up for any of the courses that are going on now, but I'll tell you about what I'm going to be doing soon also. So you could sign up for those. Somebody named Fiffin asks, is really Shiva Linga represented male and female reproductive parts? Yes. Actually, so because was what we're learning in Vedic philosophy course, is that everything boils down to the seer wanting to see the seen, because everything is based on consciousness. So everything is all about consciousness wanting to experience its object. And that's what sex is all about. It's one subject and object becoming one and unifying. So the basis of reality is actually the same as the basis of sexuality, and that's why a lot of principles in Vedic philosophy are expressed with sexual symbolism or are expressed sexually, such as the Shiva Linga and Yoni. Amritanshi wants to know if Maya is good. Maya is very good. This is the hugest misconception about Maya. And we're about to do the class on Maya in our next session in our Vedic philosophy course. Hey, Prakriti. Walking Miracle has asked a random question which has caught my attention. Are asteroids considered in Vedic or only Western? Actually, asteroids aren't considered in Western astrology either. They're considered in modern astrology. But no, in classical astrology, whether it's Eastern or Western, nobody considers asteroids. However, of course, asteroids were considered part of Nimit or omen, and they're important in omens because when they would when you would be able to see them, they would become a part of what was involved in astrology for sure. But they weren't plotted as points in the way that they are now. So I want to tell you also, not just about what I've been doing and why I haven't been keeping up with you so much on YouTube. Of course, you guys got that whole month where I did something every day. But since then, I kind of dropped off. Now, let me tell you about what is in the future. After all, I'm an astrologer, right? So, in the future for me, of course, next month I'm going to do the next lunar cycle reading. Make that available around February 20th. I'll start 19th, 20th. I'll start making that one available. But besides that, what I want to start sharing with you on YouTube is talking to you, explaining the concept of Amsha degrees. Degrees in the Amsha charts. Like, in other words, a planet might be in Taurus Navamsha or Gemini Dashamsha. But there's a way to determine if it's at 1 degree of that Amsha, Taurus or Gemini, or at 20, or what the exact degree is. There's a way to determine that. And it's relevant. I want to explain to you how it's relevant and real, not something crazily made up. I want to talk about what you can do with that and what you shouldn't try to do with that. Some mistakes like infinite regressions and things like that. Some mistakes about Amsha degrees and some really accurate and useful ways to do it. Maybe show you a few examples. And I think what I'll do is possibly next month, if I get superhuman powers, possibly next month I will actually offer a reading about how your Amsha degrees work with your main chart. So in other words, if there's an Amsha in which you have a planet that's conjoined with a planet or a point in your main chart, it's very important. So I might do a reading about that if, as I say, I get supernatural power to do all this work and actually not crack. So that's one of the things that I plan to do next, is start talking about Amsha degrees, and soon leading up to doing a reading on it. Besides that, since we just finished the level 2 course, next thing to teach online is a level 3. So the next untaught level 3 thing is the yogas of Vedic astrology. So this is going to be a big course, probably one of the longest courses that I teach. We'll talk about what these yogas are, how to use them, how to find them. We'll show examples in the charts. Many, many, many different yogas. We'll go over them all. Again, I'm thinking most likely I will schedule this to start after the influx of readings from the next new moon. So what day is it? So around this time of March. So instead of this time of February, this time of March, I'll probably be getting sign-ups for this Yogas of Vedic Astrology course. Then the other thing is we're going to finish the Vedic philosophy course soon. So also in March, what I would like to start is a new philosophy course that I haven't offered before, which is directly about the Bhagavatam. So this is going back to someone's question about whether I'm going to finish translating the Bhagavatam. Doing these courses will help me get back on track, because eventually we'll catch up to what I've translated. So I'll have to start translating more. So the first course would be called Bhakti and Bhagavat, and it would be about the first 3 chapters of the Bhagavatam. We would look in detail at the verse which describes the Bhagavatam's concept of reality, the verse that describes Vyasa's vision of divinity, and the verse that is the introductory verse for the whole Bhagavatam, and then an overview of the whole first 3 chapters, which talks about the yoga of how to realize this stuff for yourself. So that's my plan for March. Hopefully that sounds exciting to you guys. Vedic prophecies, that would be interesting to talk about. There's some prophecies in the Bhagavatam's 12th canto. There's another Purana called Bhavishya Purana, but this Purana is highly tampered with, so it's a bit unreliable. Yes, Tosh wants to know if this is a picture made by one of my kids. This is my daughter's artwork from school, and she says, "Daddy, this is a picture of astrology." So I put it on my thing. And then yesterday she came up to see my little studio, and she said, "Daddy, you have my picture up there." I said, "Yep, it's in all my videos." And she was happy. Valeria says, "I didn't get very well where the degrees are, like the ones you're talking about, Vic." So let me just explain that again. Everybody knows that, for example, I have the moon in Gemini. Actually, I've just been dealing with so many people's charts, I can't remember my chart. So let's say you have the moon in Gemini. Everybody knows that it's important to specify where is it in Gemini. It's not just enough that it's in Gemini. And the way that you specify where it is in Gemini is by a degree. You measure the position in Gemini by using something called degrees, which just means a unit of space. So for example, maybe you have the moon at 3 degrees Gemini, maybe it's at 13, maybe it's at 6, maybe it's at 18. Why that's important is because it tells you the exact position of the moon and how it relates. Therefore, you know exactly how it relates to the other planets. You can talk better about aspects. And also you can know each different area of Gemini has a different subtext to it because of the amshas, the parts of it that are active at that particular spot, right? So everybody knows this. Like I'd say, everybody that's at the stage that they would listen to this video probably knows that it's important to know the degree that a planet is at in a sign. But people may not know that it's important to know the degree that a planet is at in an amsha, and that it's possible to know. What are the amshas? Amsha means part. So like if I give you a whole pie, and then you split it into 12 pieces, you split the pie into amshas. Then if you split those pieces into, so that would be like splitting the sky into the zodiac. The zodiacs are amshas of the sky. Then if you take each piece and you cut it into smaller pieces, now you've made amshas of that sign. Well, you can cut one part of it into 9 pieces. You can cut another part into 10. You can cut another. So there's things called the 9 part, the 10 part, the 12 part, which in Sanskrit is Navamsha, Dashamsh, Dwadashamsh. Those are the amshas. What most people don't know is that the amshas are part of the continuum of the zodiac circle. If you cut a pizza pie into 12 parts, and then you cut each piece into 9 parts, you're cutting the same pie, right? So they're a continuum of the same zodiac circle. So there's still a relevance to how far into this part of the piece is this planet point or whatever you're dealing with. So we can express that also as a degree, and then we can see how that degree relates. So for example, many, many famous people have a Dashamsa point or a Navamsha point that's very tied to their ascendant. Or they'll have some kind of very exact conjunction between something in their Navamsha and something in their D1. This is why I stumbled on this and why I want to do readings about it, because it's super useful. So for example, maybe your Saturn is in Gemini and your moon is in Gemini, and maybe your Saturn is at 26 degrees Gemini and your moon is at 2 degrees Gemini. It's different than if your Saturn is at, talking about that Saturn's Amsha degree. If that Saturn's Amsha degree is 2 degrees Gemini, then it's exactly in conjunction with the position where your moon is. Now, I want to talk about how you, over the course of this month, when we talk about this on this channel, I want to talk about some mistakes about the way you would do this, address some doubts about it. Some people say this is bogus, but I think I already even addressed that with the pizza thing, and then show you some examples of how it works. Let's see what else we got. I think I'll end it here. Okay, so how does it get divided into 27 gods? So the zodiac circle is not divided into 27 gods. This is another big just mistake. The stellar circle is divided into 27 segments. The moon's sky is divided by the moon's the moon's sky is divided by the moon's movement over the course of one solar circuit. The sun's sky is divided by the sun's movement over the course of one lunar circuit. That's how it works. You get 12 zodiac signs. The sun's sky is the zodiac. And you get 12 zodiac signs because each one of those slices of zodiac is the sun's movement over the course of one lunar circuit. Lunar circuit meaning how long does it take for the moon to conjoin with the sun, leave it, and then come back to a conjunction with the sun. It takes exactly 30 degrees of the sun's space. That's how you get 12 zodiac signs. So this zodiac system is a division of the sun, the sun's world, the sun's realm. The moon's realm is the nighttime sky full of stars. The sun's realm is the daytime sky full of light and shadow. So that's how you measure it, the sun's sky. You measure it by light and shadow, equinox, solstice, etc. The moon's sky is full of night and stars, so you measure it with stars. The reason why you divide this into 27 is because it's the same reason as the way the sun's sky gets divided into 12. The motion of the moon over the course of one sun circuit. The sun circuit is sunrise, sunset, back to sunrise. So the amount of space that the moon moves while the sun goes and makes one circuit from sunrise to sunrise is one segment of the moon sky. And it comes up to 27 segments. So you see, these are two different skies. The moon sky of 27 nakshatra segments is a different sky. It's the same sky, but it belongs to a different nature. It's the sky of stars. And the sun sky of 12 zodiac signs is the sky of light. So the sky of night, the sky of day, the sky of light, the sky of stars. So the zodiac, when you cut the pizza pie, you don't cut the orange that's also on your table. By cutting the pizza pie, it doesn't slice the orange. Similarly, by slicing the orange, it doesn't slice the pizza. So zodiac divisions don't slice nakshatras, and nakshatras don't reappear in zodiac divisions, etc., etc. So hopefully that. Greedy Rick wants to know if I'm on board with Sri Yukteswar's Yuga timeline. No, that's one of my big things. I'm not on board with that. Nope. What Yukteswar is trying to do is he's trying to time ages based on precession of equinoxes, which is fine. That's nice. Develop a system to time the ages, to time some ages based on the precession of equinoxes. But the Yuga system of the Vedas is not based on the precession of equinoxes. It's based on the lifetime of Brahma. and the amount of respirations that he does, because it covers periods of time which are through which planets don't even exist. They get created and destroyed, so the positions of planets can't define it. But what I don't like about Yukteswar is that he took the Yuga system from the Veda and made it his way of coming up with a new system of dividing ages based on the precession of equinoxes. Just leave it alone and make up your own thing so that people don't get confused. These are two different ways of looking at ages of time. But he's confused everybody about what Kali Yuga is and what Dwapara Yuga is and all this stuff. So just to be clear, his concept of Kali Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and everything has no support whatsoever from the Veda. The Veda don't support the concept that you go from Kali Yuga to another Kali Yuga and then a Dwapara Yuga. They don't support that at all, and the Veda don't support the idea of dividing it into occasionally the Vedas support the concept of yugas on a human scale rather than a cosmic scale. All right. So I'm not on the board with that. Am I open to questions about personal question on Saturn? I have a Saturn return exactly my Saturn is now exactly in return. So why don't you ask and find out if I'm open to it? Holiday, what is it that you want? You want to use... You want to get... I'm not sure what you want. Clarify it or send me a private email about it. SB Buddy wants to know about pending karma. Okay, that's the basis of what's going to happen to you in the future. You just want the video of all the things? I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that video. Let me think about that. Natasha wants to know if I don't use padas. You can use padas, but they're just not identical to Navamshas. Excuse me, the Vedanga Jyotish says that the Vedanga Jyotish gives us a record that the ancient astrologers divided nakshatras into subsections in the same way that we still divide rashis into subsections. They divided it in halves, in quarters, in fifths, in sevenths, and ninths, and stuff like that, and in fourths also. It's just that the fourth system is only taken over because of the fact that it's exactly the same size as the Navamsha, and when you think that the zodiac is sidereal, then you can permanently link a particular Navamsha to a Nakshatrapada, and you can riff off of that. Thanks anyway, Prakriti. I'm not sure how what the super chat problem is. I don't even know how it works, but thank you. What's the rationale between a particular Varga related to a specific aspect of life? That I don't honestly know. However, there is some... I really don't know that well enough to say for sure, but I have noticed that there's some kind of correspondence. What I'm gonna bet would be the answer to this would be the angle of degree between the amshas of the same size. The measurement of the angle between the amshas of the same size. So, for example, with a Navamsha, you get the same sign will repeat every 45 degrees. So with the Dashamsha, it would be a slightly different angle. With the Dwadashamsha, it would be a slightly different angle. It would be shorter angles. My sense is that the angle of that must have something to do with the angles of the houses that the houses have to each other. There must be some multiple or something of those houses, and that therefore, because what I know for sure is that each amsha is just like a particular house, more or less. Oh, thank you, Raphael. Somehow I got it. Somehow Raphael gave me a donation on the live chat, but thank you. So, like for example, the third division, the Draca, it's almost like you might as well say it's another way of looking at the third house. But it's not always three. It's not always the exact same number. Like the seventh division is like the fifth house, and the ninth division is like the seventh house. 10th division is again like the 10th. 12th is kind of like the ninth. So what I know for sure is that they're very much the same as particular houses. So there must be something about that number and that house, and it's probably about the angle formed by the degree, between this repetition of the signs. But I haven't researched it fully. All right, guys. So I think I'm gonna just. I just wanted to come in and show you. Just talk about. Just say hi, really, and let you know what I've done. Those new moon readings were fun and great, and I'm doing recorded video readings now as an option instead of just written, and I actually prefer that. Oddly, I surprised myself in preferring the recorded video to the writing, because I always think of myself as a writer. Okay, everybody. So I'll see you soon, hopefully, to talk more about Amsha degrees, and maybe we'll throw in a few live streams. You guys are really into this, so maybe we'll throw in like an open question live stream coming up soon. Thank you, everybody. I seriously appreciate all of you. Actually, closing statement is, this is the Shravana lunar cycle. And what all of you guys are doing right now is Shravana. So I'm very appreciative of seeing Shravana in action. How you're listening and evoking my enthusiasm to share stuff with you is really, you guys are right on the money, but that's how Shravana operates. So, here, congratulations and respects to all of you. Thanks so much. See you soon.